right, I'm back. Welcome everybody, it's Michelle Tam of Nom Nom Paleo, and I'm welcoming you to my home kitchen like I do every Wednesday, where I show you how to cook something. So I'm gonna wait a few minutes to see if more people hop on. I just realized when I tried to do this a minute ago, I wasn't even hooked up to Wi-Fi, so that's why people weren't seeing anything. But I see people coming on. If you guys come on, say hello and tell me where you're from, and you can give me a little thumbs up that you can see and hear everything. But today I'm going to be showing you how to make a recipe from this really cool cookbook called the Pho Cookbook by my friend Andrea Nguyen. And three people who comment and ask questions during this live broadcast are going to win a copy of this cookbook, which is amazing. And so what I'm going to show you today is a really simple and delicious chicken pho that you can make in your Instant Pot. And so I'm going to answer all your questions about how to use the Instant Pot, because I know a lot of you have bought one because I'm so excited about it. I think it got everyone excited. But then a lot of people have kept it in the box or just don't know what to do with it. So I'm going to show you how to make this soup. The recipe is on my blog, but everything will be posted at the top of the description. And Lauren Wade, the master builder behind the scenes at Nom Nom Paleo, will be posting stuff as you guys ask questions. My older son Owen is going to be reading out comments and questions that you guys have that I can't see because I'm going to be cooking. And so, yes, some people have asked, what is pho? So pho is spelled P-H-O. It's not pronounced pho, but it's a Vietnamese soup noodle dish. And a lot of people are like, oh, rice noodles and noodles aren't paleo. And that is true. But you can totally make it without rice noodles, or you could eat rice noodles. I mean, it totally depends on, you know, whether you tolerate it, because everybody is different. Today I'm going to show you how to make it with zucchini noodles, but you know, if you don't like noodles, you can even, a lot of times I serve it with like chopped up bok choy or napa cabbage that I simmer in the broth, and it's really delicious, because I think all noodle soups, the thing that makes it so delicious is the soup and the other stuff. The noodles themselves are actually really bland, so it's all dependent on how flavorful the soup is, and this soup is super flavorful. So I have my 6-quart Instant Pot. An Instant Pot is, you know, it touts itself as like a multi-cooker, and you can do all sorts of stuff with it, like it's a rice cooker, slow cooker, pressure cooker, but I only use it as an electric pressure cooker. So I press the saute button to kind of heat up the bottom. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to toast some of the dried spices that give the signature flavor. No, and I wanted to say, this is not my recipe. This is Andrea Nguyen's recipe. She is the author of this Pho Cookbook. And I have a bunch of other books. Oh, see, Owen's so great. So I have this one, which is totally not paleo, her Asian dumplings cookbook. Her first cookbook is Into the Vietnamese Kitchen. If you love Vietnamese cooking, you should definitely get her books because they're amazing. She's probably the foremost authority on Vietnamese cooking, and I love Vietnamese cooking. So you know this recipe is going to be good because it's her recipe. All I did was I adapted it to work in the Instant Pot, because there are things that are a little bit different about the Instant Pot. First of all, the Instant Pot cooks at a different pressure than traditional stovetop pressure cookers, because for a traditional stovetop pressure cooker, I think the low pressure setting is like 8 psi and the high pressure setting is 15. But with an Instant Pot, the high pressure setting is 12 psi and the low pressure setting is like 6. So you do have to adjust it a little bit for chicken recipes. And for this recipe where you're worried about overcooking the chicken, you do need to make sure like you know, vent it properly. And I'll show you all that. So don't stress out. And if you follow the directions on my blog, you'll have a perfect pho. I did have to change the recipe a little bit also from her original recipe, because when I filled it to 8 cups in my 6-quart Instant Pot, because the pressure drops so slowly in an Instant Pot because it's so well insulated, when you vent it to release the steam at the end, there was some broth that kind of overflowed. But all I'm doing now is I press the saute function, and I have like a tablespoon of coriander seeds and 3 cloves. And you just throw it in there. And mine isn't super hot right now. But you kind of just throw it in there and you move things around until you can smell it, because you just want to dry toast these herbs. And already it smells really good. And what's really interesting is I think until I bought one of Andrea's cookbooks, like I've always loved Vietnamese food, but I was like, I don't know how you can make this at home. I think it's impossible. But after getting her books, I was like, whoa, it's actually not that hard. And these ingredients aren't that wacky and crazy. Because like coriander and cloves, you can just buy in the spice section at a regular supermarket. So, oh, this smells really good. Oh, and can you smell this? Can you smell this? So you just toast it in your dry insert until you can smell it. And then I have a yellow onion that I've peeled. I cut in half. Oh, actually, I gotta press this button so I can see you guys. And then I just sliced it thickly. So here's like, and they'll fall apart, it's okay. I'm just gonna dump this in. Again, this is a dry pressure cooker. Are there any questions that people are asking? And then right here I have, this was like a 2-inch piece of ginger, like a big fat piece of ginger. And whenever I kind of think about it, it's like about the size of my thumb. And then you peel it. And then someone had asked me, let me go grab. Someone had asked me, what does it mean to bruise a piece of ginger? So I peeled that 2-inch piece of ginger and then I cut it thickly. And so then you have these like little kind of thick coins. And then the way you bruise it is you just kind of smash it with something heavy. And I actually smashed that a little harder than I wanted to. Bruising just releases, you know, some of the more of the ginger essence. And you can use anything. Like I just use this meat pounder that I use to smash my crackling chicken. This is frozen ginger that I have because I like to keep my ginger in the freezer. And when you smash it, it actually disintegrates pretty easily. Whereas if you use fresh ginger, like if you pound it, it shouldn't do that. So you just kind of stir this around with the cloves and the coriander seeds until it's fragrant as well. So this is probably going to just be like a minute. You want to maybe do a little bit of browning, but not a ton. You're just kind of trying to coax the flavor out of everything. And this smells really good. Already these flavors and smells are like chicken pho.
So is this recipe on the app?
This is not on the app because almost everything new on the blog gets added to the app except for recipes that I don't own the intellectual property for. So this one is Andrea's recipe, so I'm not adding it to my app because I don't think it's fair for me to add it because it's not my intellectual property. So then, here.
So also, shoot, I forgot.
I'm actually gonna do, now I'm gonna do keep warm, cancel to turn off the heat. But everything is really fragrant. Some of the onions are browned. And then I'm gonna put in.
Oh yeah, what type of spatula do you use?
Oh, this is my favorite silicone spatula. It's made by a company called GIR, which means get it right. So I'm gonna put about 4 cups of water. And it's for a total of 7 cups because I think that's just about the right amount so that there's no Mount Vesuvius of broth. Okay, so then I'm gonna put in a chicken, and you can use up to a 4-pound chicken. This one is actually a 3.5-pound chicken. You're gonna plop it in, breast side up. And I'm gonna wash my hands because I just. All right, so then I put a chicken in there. Do not go bigger than a 4-pound chicken. Do not add more liquid. Do not add like a giant apple, like because all of this volume makes a difference. Okay, so the measurements that are in my recipe, please follow that.
What is the difference between broth and pho?
Broth and pho. Well, pho, I think, you know, has the noodles and all that other stuff. Oh, actually, that beeping tells me that the one that I cooked earlier is ready. So I'm going to turn this I'm gonna set my timer for 20 minutes because I'm gonna let the timer count down for that. If I don't do it on my watch, I'm gonna totally overcook everything. All right, okay. So I'm gonna go back to that after I've shown you how to throw everything in here. So I have the toasted spices, the coriander seeds, and the cloves. I tossed in some ginger and some onion, which I sauteed in the dry bottom of this of the pressure cooker. I added about 4 cups of water. I put in a whole chicken between 3.5 and 4 pounds, breast side up. Then now I have 1 small apple. I used a Fuji apple, and you just peel it and then you just cut it up, and it's really, I think it's really cute. In Andrea's directions in her cookbook, she talks about how it should be the size of your thumbnail, which I think is like really a really great description, so people always know exactly how big it's supposed to be. And then I have some cilantro that I've roughly chopped up, and it's like 3/4 cups. And then you plop it all in here. And I'm gonna put in a tablespoon of Diamond Crystal kosher salt. If you use a finer grain salt, you use half of that, so 1.5 teaspoons or 1 tablespoon of this Diamond Crystal kosher salt. I'm gonna just put that all over. Yes?
Do you use yellow or sweet onion?
This time I just used a yellow onion. And then you're gonna add a total of 7 cups of water. So I already put in 4 cups. I actually pre-measured 7 cups in my little Vitamix here. So I'm just gonna pour it. And just like just like the pressure cooker and Instant Pot instructions say, you should not fill your pressure cooker more than 2/3 full. So you can see here that there's still a good amount of space. And even though there's a max line right here at the very top, that is not for pressure cooking. That is only if you're slow cooking or some other, you're cooking some other method in your Instant Pot. So this right here, it's all set. All I have to do now is put the lid on. Where's the lid of my Instant Pot? Oh, here, all right. And so then, for the lid of your Instant Pot, I'm missing parts to my Instant Pot. See, this is why this is like, no, it was in my dryer rack because, you know, I actually use my stuff. Okay, so this right here are the things you should worry about with your Instant Pot. The Instant Pot, I think, is very, very safe. You don't really have to worry about anything. I pressed the keep warm cancel, so this is essentially off. Because anytime you're switching modes from, say, saute to pressure cook, you should just press keep warm cancel to switch from the different modes. So it was on saute function to saute the stuff. I pressed keep warm cancel. I added all the other stuff into the pot. And then this right here is the silicone gasket. And this, along with other features of your Instant Pot, keeps everything under high pressure and keeps it shut. So people always know somebody who was injured by a pressure cooker way back in the 70s. And that's probably true, but that's because those pressure cookers were not as safe as these ones now. These ones have all sorts of release valves and safety features, but you do, this is not, just like cooking, there's live fire, right? And you could get burned. So you do need to still be careful, but it's not as scary as you guys think it is. So you just tuck this rubber gasket into this little metal casing right here, and you just make sure that it's all tucked in properly.
Does the silicone ring only go in one way?
Basically, yeah. So there's like a groove right in here. Can you guys see this? And that groove just tucks in. And if it's not in properly, your pressure cooker won't reach high pressure. And then you don't have to worry about it exploding because it won't reach high pressure. The only thing is you do need to replace the silicone gasket maybe every 2 years, or if it's got like, it's cracked or there's some issue with it. But otherwise, it should be fine. I have backup ones because they do retain the smell of whatever you're cooking. I've tried all the different methods on how to make sure it doesn't smell like I throw it in the dishwasher. I've tried putting it in the sun. I've added vinegar, all the things people tell me. And actually one of the best ways to kind of keep the smell out is I store it this way. Like when I'm done cooking, I kind of leave it open like that. And I have extra ones. So I have ones that I use for like smelly things and ones that I for non-smelly dishes. And Owen, yes?
So, what size instant pot would be good for like a family of 4?
We have a family of 4, and I think the 6 quart is awesome. I also have the 8 quart because I have an 8 quart and I have a 6 quart. But I think the 6 quart is good for almost all your needs. The 8 quart, I'll tell you the issues I have with the 8 quart when I'm done putting this all together. But I'm gonna just put this in. So the gasket is all the way in there. I'm gonna put this little knobby thing on the top, and you want it pointed towards sealing because you want to actually seal the Instant Pot. And then once it's on, you turn it, and there's an arrow that says close. So you turn it, and it'll make a little song that tells you it's closed. Ta-da! It's closed. And then you program it. So this, I always press just the manual button because it automatically, it allows you to time it for whatever you want, and it's just under high pressure. And so this one defaults to 30 minutes, and I waited too long, and then it started counting down. So I'm gonna press manual again, the minus button to bring it down to 14 minutes. And then I'm just gonna wait. And it's gonna come up to high pressure by itself, and then when it reaches high pressure, it's gonna count down for 14 minutes. So even though people are like, oh my gosh, this is a 14-minute recipe, it's not a 14-minute recipe. Like this whole recipe from start to finish probably takes about 90 minutes because like the one back there, which I'm gonna show you when it's finished, like it probably takes about 15 minutes to get to high pressure, and then it's gonna cook for 14 minutes, so that's about a half an hour. And then you're supposed to turn it off and let it sit and naturally depressurize for 20 minutes. And if you have a regular stovetop pressure cooker, it's probably gonna be totally depressurized after 20 minutes. But an Instant Pot is different because it's so well insulated, and the only place it can release heat is this top metal part. By 20 minutes, it'll probably still be under high pressure, so you'll have to manually release the pressure at the top because you don't want the chicken to overcook. But I'll show you how that's gonna happen because I have one in the back that I will show you how that works. And then once it's depressurized after 20 minutes, then you let it sit for another 5 minutes, and then you let it sit for another 10 minutes. So it, time adds up. So people will say, oh my gosh, it's so quick. It's not really that quick, but it's very little hands-on time because all that work that I just did, that's it, right? So I can go and help my kids with homework or whatever it is, or I'll show you the rest of what I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna move this out of the way, and I'm not worried about moving the Instant Pot because it's not at high pressure right now. It's heating up, but if you just move it carefully, you should be okay. And the one I have back here, I actually have it, here I'm gonna move it so you guys can see. So I have it underneath my stovetop vent hood, and I'm not gonna turn on my stovetop. I know that I have an Instant Pot on there, so I'm not gonna turn it on and set my appliance on fire. But the reason why I put it here is because when I release the pressure, the steam will get sucked up. I'll turn on the vent and it'll all get sucked up, and I won't ruin my cabinets. So while I'm waiting, because this I had made earlier, this is my 8-quart Instant Pot. I just did the same recipe, but in the 8-quart pot. People have said, how big can I, like how big a chicken can I put in an 8-quart, and how much liquid can I put in an 8-quart? I actually would not go above what she says. You can actually use the one in her book. So the one that I have on my website, I have calculated for the 6-quart. So I'm using 7 cups of liquid and a little bit less salt, and I changed the timing a little bit. If you use an 8-quart, you can use the original recipe that's in her book, which is like 8 cups of water and a little bit more of the spices and salt. I wouldn't go much bigger than that because, again, you're limited by how much liquid you can have because you're gonna have to vent it manually, and you don't want broth spraying out. Yes?
Just lost it. Oh, anyways, there was one before that was like about like how you seem really, really good at what you're doing and like how you got to like do the live stuff.
Oh, the live stuff? Well, it's because nobody's really here. Like it's like I'm talking to myself, which I do all the time. And right, kids? And you know, you're just in my kitchen. I'm just showing you how to make stuff. And this is how it is. So I'm gonna show you while we're waiting for this. So this I had thrown in there before I went on. And it's already cooked. So it's already reached high pressure. It's already cooked for the 14 minutes under high pressure. I've turned it off, and so I set a timer, you guys probably saw me a few minutes ago, for 20 minutes because I don't want it to depressurize any longer than that because it keeps cooking because it's still hot. So after 20 minutes, I'm gonna manually release. I'm gonna show you how it's not scary, and you guys will be totally okay. And then I'll show you the rest of how to make this pho. So I do have 2 pots of pho, so I'll have a lot of pho left over, which is great because I love it. So I'm gonna move all this stuff out of the way. And as I said before, rice noodles aren't paleo, but a lot of people like myself who, you know, eat paleo do eat rice on occasion. There's a lot of people who think of it as a safe starch or if you're active. I mean, obviously it all depends on you and whether you tolerate it. I like the taste of it, but I do know that when I eat rice, I get really sleepy. So I don't eat it that often, and when I do, I savor it. And then when I do, I don't eat a ton of it. Or like I said on my last Instagram, if I know I'm gonna go somewhere and have like a really great bowl of pho, I make sure that we go on a hike afterwards or something, so I'm not gonna come home and just take a nap. So I'm gonna show you how to make zucchini noodles really quick. Let me grab a plate. All right, so people always ask me like what type of spiralizer I use. I have 2 of them. This one is the Spiralizer. It's made by Ali Mafucci, who has the Spiralizer, I think the Inspiralized blog. So it's called the Inspiralizer, but her blog is called Inspiralized, and she has 2 New York Times bestselling books just about spiralizing stuff. So she is the expert on spiralizing anything and all vegetables. So I defer to her. She has a really, really great spiralizer. I like this one, and I also like the one made by OXO. And there are pros and cons to both. This one, what I like about it, it has a really great suction, as does the OXO. So when you turn it, like, you cannot move it. And she has super sharp blades. And she has like, I think she has 4 different ones. And they're all attached. And you just change it by turning a knob. Whereas the other ones, you have to change out the blades. And what I also like is this little center part right here, which attaches the vegetable, is really narrow in diameter. So you don't have a lot of waste when you make spiralized noodles. And you can use thinner vegetables and still get noodles. What I like about the OXO one though, which this one you can't do, is the OXO one you can throw every part in the dishwasher. And it's also very sharp. So, you know, there are pluses and minuses, and so I have both. So I'm just gonna go and I'm just gonna spiralize this. You just have to make sure that you have a vegetable that's not curved, because you want one that's straight that will spiralize. You want it to be thick, the same thickness from end to end. And then you cut flat on both ends so that you have a nice place for it to grab onto. And as I said before, both this one and the OXO are super sharp. I know people have said they have spiralizers and they can't cut like sweet potatoes or things that are harder. If you get this one or the OXO, you will definitely be able to cut through even the hardest vegetables.
So apparently this one can go in the dishwasher.
Oh, really?
According to someone.
Oh, well, I do have an older one, so maybe I'll try throwing it in the dishwasher. That's really cool. If you can throw it in the dishwasher, then maybe this one is my favorite now. All right, so then I normally allot about 1 zucchini per person, but like my older, so this is the part that normally gets wasted. You can chop it up. It looks kind of obscene, but but if you, the other ones, if it's a bigger little notch that attaches it to the spiralizer, you waste a lot of vegetable. And then this, so this is probably the portion for 1 person. You can, if you like your noodles or zoodles softer, you could quickly blanch it in some hot water until it's the softness that you desire, and then you drain it and then you put it in a bowl. But I actually like them a little more al dente. And so I just put the zucchini noodles, and sometimes these are really long, and so then you can cut them. And so I just put these in a bowl, and then when I have super hot soup and I pour it on, it cooks them to the consistency that I like. But again, it is up to you how you like to do it. You don't even have to make zoodles. I mean, these days, I mean, almost everybody, most people have zoodlers or spiralizers these days. You can also buy them pre-spiralized at the store. But you don't even have to do that. You can just buy your favorite vegetable and chop it up and have that as the base of your soup. And then it's just like a chicken and vegetable soup that's really tasty. So I have 3 more minutes to wait for this. So while I'm waiting, I'm gonna answer some questions. What are some questions people have, Owen? I think he's just...
There's like no questions.
There's no questions. Here, I'll...
Well, I mean, I can only see a set amount of questions.
I used too much ginger. I mean, more than 2 inches, I think. Yeah, so I think a good rule of thumb is to have it no bigger... I don't know how big your thumb is, but my thumb is about 2 inches. But some people love ginger, and so it depends on how gingery you like it. Is your necklace homemade? No. It was an expensive purchase from someone who actually made it by hand. So I guess technically it is homemade, but it's by someone else. Is that an Apple Watch? Yes, it is an Apple Watch. It's not as cool as I was hoping it would be. I just use it as like a timer. Have you added the spirals to omelets? Yes, spiralized noodles I think are super fun. And especially if you can throw the spiralizer in the dishwasher. Like if you can spiralize vegetables, it actually just makes vegetables that much easier to eat, and the kids want to eat it. Well, one of them might want to eat it, but for me personally, I get more excited about vegetables when it is spiralized, and they cook so much faster. Is the app for Android too? No, unfortunately, it's only for iPads and iPhones because Henry and I self-finance it. It's just app development is just really very expensive. So if we do any changes to the app, we will port it to the Android, but it is very expensive.
So where do you get a spiralizer?
You can buy them on Amazon. So like this, the spiralizer, the one that I've just showed you guys, you can buy on Amazon. I think it's now carried at like Sur La Table now and a bunch of other places. The OXO one that I also have, which I'll show you. If I don't break everything in my thing. This OXO one you can also get on Amazon, and they're all about the same price. I think my first one I bought was a Paderno, and it was like $20, but it totally broke on me. And then these ones, I think they're about $40, and so when you look at the pricing, you're like, oh, I could totally get one for cheap. They probably won't last as long, and you're looking at the difference of like $10. Diana says, what's the app name? It's called Nom Nom Paleo, just like my vlog and everything else that I created. And in about a minute, I'll show you how to release the pressure. What does pho mean? So I think pho is actually, so the French colonized Vietnam, and I think the pho noodles, and I wish Andrew was here to tell us all about it, but I think pho is actually similar to pot au feu, which is like a French dish of like simmered beef, but this is kind of like the Vietnamese version of it. And so the word pho is actually, the Vietnamese borrowed that from the French. Or I hope I didn't make that up. Oh yeah, someone said they're happy to see they could share recipes from the app. via email. Yes, you can totally do that. And then there's a feedback button. And if you guys have any questions about the app ever, you can just email me and I read them all and I respond to them. If you ever have a weird glitch with your app, because a lot of people have upgraded to an iPhone 7 and they said that their app is missing recipes, just delete it completely off of your device and download it again for free as long as you use the same Apple ID you used to purchase it, and everything should be fixed.
Do you spiralize fruit?
I haven't, but I know you can. You should just go to inspiralize.com, which is Allie's site, and she teaches you how to spiralize everything, like apples and all sorts of stuff. So I'm gonna bring, well, I'll bring it over here. Normally I would just vent it over there, but I don't think you can see it. So it's been 20 minutes, and you can see right here that this pressure indicator is still really high. So I'm just gonna release it. Oh, there it is. And so I'm just manually releasing. There is a little bit of broth, so you could be more careful than I am and like use like a little nip, but I don't think it's too bad. So the difference between the 6-quart and the 8-quart Instant Pot, besides the size, obviously, like the difference between 6-quart and 8-quart is you can fit like 8 more cups of liquid, but it takes longer to reach high pressure and it takes longer to depressurize. So if you're cooking something where you know, every minute counts, like a whole chicken where the breast might get overcooked, the 8-quart is a little iffy. Like if you're just making like my pressure cooker Mexican beef stew, it totally doesn't matter if it takes longer to reach pressure or it takes longer to depressurize, because you can't really overcook it. But like for this dish, I would prefer making it my 6-quart, because I think like every minute that you add either bringing it to pressure or having the pressure drop slowly, you're just cooking. Oh yes, it's so cute. Oh, I know, he raises his hand to get my attention. You can just yell at me and tell me to shut up.
So, Anne says that she doesn't really like beef pho. So does this taste like different?
Oh, totally different. So beef pho and chicken pho are really different. Chicken pho is much, I don't know, it's like lighter. Chicken pho is delicious, I think, and it definitely tastes different. And the spices are different. So like beef pho normally has like star anise and has other things, and it's got a bunch of like hearty beef bones and lots of beefy meat in there, and so it's like a heartier soup. Whereas like, look, this is taking forever. Come on, hurry and depressurize already. Because I feel like sometimes even on this quick release with the 8-quart, oh hello Ollie. No, Ollie likes this chicken pho, right? Do you like chicken or beef pho better?
Depends on when.
Do you think they taste different? Like, are they flavored the same, or they taste different? They're flavored different.
No, they're not.
They are flavored different.
They're told, oh wait, I thought you said they're flavored the same. I'm like, what?
No, they're flavored different.
Yeah, because chicken's right there like chicken.
So excited to make this my Inspire. Yeah, see, like, look, I'm telling you, this 8-quart has a bigger volume and is great, but it just won't depressurize, and I'm just like, and I think every minute that it's not depressurizing, I'm worried about that chicken breast being all stringy and gross. Will you do a beef version soon? There's a beef version in my cookbook, and I think it's on the app too. So this is my first cookbook. Our second cookbook is coming out on August 1st, which we're very, very excited about. Where's my beef? Do I even have it? Did I make that up? I didn't make that up. Fast pho. So I have a slow cooker beef pho and a pressure cooker beef pho in here. This is before I owned an Instant Pot. So this is when I made it with a traditional pressure cooker. But yeah, it's all there step by step. And you actually make it. It's very tasty. All right, come on. Finish depressurizing. All right. And then I'll show you guys how I strain it. So once I can open this, geez, see, a 6 quart is much faster. Like for those of you contemplating between a 6 quart and an 8 quart, yes, if you have a ginormous family, you should get an 8 quart, or you could get 2 6 quarts. I mean, depending on if it's on sale, sometimes the price is not that different. Because like the 6 quart, I think right now is $99, but sometimes it goes down to like $68. And this one, the 8 quart, almost seems to always be, it used to be $159 forever, and now I think it's like $129. See, I can feel that the pressure is almost all the way down. Ah, there it is. So it falls down, which you can see right here. So I'm gonna open it up. And it only lets you open it up if it's depressurized. Ta-da! And you can stick.
Oh yeah, what's the name of the other pho cookbook? And then that's all I saw.
The other pho cookbook? This one. It's called the Pho Cookbook. This is where this recipe comes from. It's by Andrea Nguyen. 3 people commenting will win a copy of it. So right now you just leave it open. So according to her instructions, now I have to do a timer for 5 minutes to kind of just let it chill out. But it smells really good. This really does, like, when you go to like a pho place and you eat pho, you're like, I don't know how I could make this at home. Like when I had this, I'm like, oh my gosh, you really can make it at home, and it tastes just as good. And it smells just like it. And like her recipe, like a lot of, if you go to like a Vietnamese restaurant, they normally use like sugar or rock sugar to add kind of a sweetness, because Vietnamese is really good about balancing like salty and spicy and sweet and tangy all in their dishes. And so there's always a balance. And so there's normally sugar in the broth, but in Andrea's recipe, we added an apple that adds natural sweetness. And if you want, at the end, you can add a little bit of maple syrup. And that was her suggestion, which is also paleo friendly, but I've never had to add it. Yes, Owen?
Does your first cookbook have AIP friendly recipes?
There are some in there, but they're not specifically marked as AIP. I do like to use tomatoes quite a bit, but I think there's quite a few, you know, nightshade-free, seed-free recipes in there. Need to go purchase one ASAP. Like one of these? Yes. I would probably do the 6 quart though. I mean, I think the 8 quart is great. If you've got ginormous batches of just plain broth. So if you are making bone broth, you don't really, like, you can fill it up a teeny bit higher, but because you don't need to release the pressure manually, you don't worry about like the broth spilling out. If you just let it cook and then you just let the pressure come down by itself, even if it takes an hour, you will not have the broth spraying. So then this 8 quart is totally fine. So now I'm gonna take out the chicken. So
what's the difference between a slow cooker and a pressure cooker?
Oh, I go into it right here. There's a big difference. A slow cooker cooks something for a long time at a low temperature, and a pressure cooker does the opposite. It cooks something quickly at a high pressure or a high heat. So it actually cooks at a higher pressure than boiling, because it's like specially sealed. And you can see here, like, again, which proved my point, this still has not reached high pressure in my other one. So it does take longer. I think it's too long to read the difference between slow cooker and pressure cooker, but the difference is the food just tastes better in a pressure cooker because it hasn't been cooked to death for 12 hours. And like if you watch shows like Top Chef or Master Chef and they have to like quickly get something done in a quick fire, they're always grabbing a pressure cooker and it always tastes great. So that's why you guys should do it too. And with an electric pressure cooker, you don't have any babysitting to do, except for a little bit. So I'm just gonna, I let this sit for like 4 minutes. I'm gonna take out the chicken, and this chicken is kind of falling apart. but that's okay because you're gonna take the skin and everything off of it anyway. And to kind of keep it from overcooking and from drying out, Andrea had a really clever suggestion where you just put all your chicken in a bowl and cover it with cold water for 10 minutes. And I was like, oh, ingenious. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna set my timer again, which is really, I think, the best thing that the Apple Watch is used for. And I'm gonna cover it in a bowl for 10 minutes so the meat stops cooking immediately. So then what I have in here, and like I'm pretty impervious to pain, I think, in my fingertips just because I cook all the time. But the very top of your Instant Pot is not normally super hot. So I'm just, so if you can see here, I have a bunch of soup in here, but I'm gonna have to strain it. I'm gonna move all this out of the way. So it's easiest just to strain it into a big stock pot. This is a giant strainer. It's a fine mesh strainer. I guess it's technically called a chinois or a china cap. The one I have is expensive. I think it's like $80-something. But I think there's a link that I gave Lauren for a really highly rated one that's only like $20 that Cooks Illustrated said was just as good. Did you have a question? I saw you waving your hand and I was ignoring you. So all I'm going to do now
is... So is there... Oh, yeah, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Is there a way to watch the video once it's over?
Oh, of course. All of my videos are archived. So just like on my Facebook page, on the side it says videos. Just click on videos and there's a subcategory called Facebook Lives. And you can watch them. And I think before Facebook said that they were going to save all of the videos. So you can stop this right now if you have to go somewhere and pause it and then always re-watch it. And I'm just going to pour it through the strainer. And it's going to strain out all of the onion and apple and little seeds and stuff. Oh, this smells really good. And this is a little hot. Like, I suggest people using like your little mitts for this. Are you guys telling secrets? Oh yes, that's for Owen's friend.
Wait, what? Oh yeah.
It's like a little cupcake.
I know.
It does. It's a gift card that they're all looking at behind the scenes. All right. So all this stuff can be discarded. So this is all the junk in here. Put it on here until I get done. And so this is all of the soup right here. And so you can either stop at this step and store the soup. You can also skim off the fat if you wanted to, or you can store it and then when it's refrigerated, you can like lift off the hardened fat on the top. But I think we're gonna be making this a little bit later. And so this is the point you would scoop up, or let's say you're gonna reheat it again to make it. You should always taste your soup to make sure that it's seasoned properly. Oh, that's really good. So I would use some fish sauce at this point. So there was no fish sauce that was put in earlier. Fish sauce adds salt and umami. Umami is the fifth taste. So besides sweet, salty, bitter, and sour, it's just indescribable deliciousness. And it's really good. I'm gonna make sure that and then if you think it needs a little more salt, you can add a little more salt as well. Add a little bit of salt. And then if you think it needs a little sweetness, you can add a little bit of maple syrup. But I don't actually think, the sweetness, I never needed that sweet. Because I think ever since I started eating paleo, things just are not, I just don't need things to be as sweet anymore.
Oh, Lauren answered this.
Okay.
Okay.
What was the question?
What brand of, it was the fish sauce, like small fishing, I think Lauren answered it.
Oh, this is really good now. So yes, fish sauce does smell fishy, but you don't add so much that what you're eating tastes fishy. It just adds that indescribable deliciousness that, you know, the food takes. So this is super hot.
Oh, yeah. What is the brand of your silverware?
Oh, this one? This is like from IKEA, so nothing fancy. All right, so I'm gonna move this. Oh, Lauren can pick the 3 winners while I'm showing you guys how to make the bowl of pho. So he's gonna randomly pick 3 people, and Andrea's publisher was nice enough to say that anybody in the world could win. So anybody who's commented on this, you know, during this live broadcast, is that eligible to win? Oh, Stacy Clark says it smells horrible but tastes awesome. Exactly, it totally does. But you know, it's like I don't know, Beauty and the Beast, right? The Beast is ugly, but then he turns out to be this wonderful prince, and that is what fish sauce is like. Just kidding. All right, so this, so I feel like taking this chicken off. So in her instructions, you only need about half the chicken for your pho, but I think if you're eating paleo, you may be eating the whole chicken for all 4 of you. This is pretty much cooled down. And if you're storing, if you are storing the meat for later, because you can totally prep this and serve it later. Like you can save the soup, it can be frozen or refrigerated, but you should season it right before you serve it, and then you boil it over the stove, and then you have bowls ready. So you have your bowls with your zucchini noodles, you add chicken on top, which I'm gonna show you guys now, and then there's a bunch of garnishes that you can put on top. So she has like some thinly sliced onion, some green onion, some jalapeno peppers, cilantro, and just fresh herbs. You can add a little bit of lime juice to add some freshness. Oh, awesome. So the 3 winners are Naomi,
Claire,
Yates, and then someone else.
And Andrea Stamp.
Awesome. Congratulations, you guys. Yay. I will make sure. So make sure that you send us your address. I mean, Lauren will contact you, yes? Okay, you can have that. Okay.
Oh yeah, should you freeze it separate?
The chicken should be frozen separately from the soup. And if you're gonna freeze the chicken, so this is kind of cool down. I would freeze it. I would take the skin off, and I would take the meat off the bone, but I would probably keep it as like a full breast, just because I think if you shred up everything and then freeze it, it has a tendency to dry out. So I'm just gonna move all this stuff over here. And people have asked me, can you use the bones for stock? Not really, because like this is already given, I think, everything to this soup. And this is a really flavorful soup because you have a whole chicken in there. So I think bone broth is fine, but when you have meat on the bones, which this is because it's a whole chicken, it really tastes really, really good. So like this, I'm gonna shred up some of the chicken. And the chicken is not overcooked. It's still kind of hot. But it's not super powdery and stringy. You want it like just cooked. So I have this bowl of the fresh zucchini noodles. Again, I like mine more al dente, so I have uncooked zoodles at the bottom, and I'm gonna put all this stuff right on top. So I put a bunch of chicken on here. I'm gonna put the herbs and the onion. And so this was soaked in cold water, but that was only to kind of stop the cooking process. I'm gonna fish it out. And then I'm gonna save all that meat for whatever I'm gonna be making with it. And I'm gonna pour this out. All right, so right here, I've got the zoodles and the chicken. I'm gonna throw on some thinly sliced yellow onion that I soaked in some water. I'm gonna put in some green onions and cilantro and peppers. And then I'm gonna ladle on some super hot, which it still is, broth. And it's up to you whether or not you want to put, you can put the herbs on after, like if you want them fresher, but if you want to kind of cook the herbs with the broth, you can put the broth right on top.
Why soak the onions in water?
I think it kind of takes the bite off of them. And I'm just following her directions, but really I think that's the main reason. But see, there's my handy timer. And there it is. There's a bowl of pho. And this stock, this broth is really, really good. Like even if you don't make the zoodles or whatever, just the soup itself is really, really delicious. And then you have like a whole chicken that you can shred for other purposes. All right, that's it. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you, Owen, for all your help behind the scenes. Thank you, Lauren, for all your help behind the scenes. Congratulations to the 3 winners. And we will be back on Wednesday, 5 p.m. Pacific, next week. So I'll see you guys then. Bye, guys.